You don't wake up tired because of the morning. You wake up tired because your mind never really left the room it slept in. Same thoughts, same excuses, same emotional furniture arranged in the same exact way, as if your inner life has been locked to one address and you're pretending that's normal. And the strangest part is this. Most people don't even notice they've been living in the same mental room for years. They call it personality. They call it adulthood. They call it being realistic. But what they really mean is this. I've become so familiar with my own patterns that I can no longer tell the difference between who I am and where I keep ending up. Meet Gabriel. Gabriel is 29. He works in operations, answers messages quickly, keeps his apartment clean, and says the right things when people ask how he's doing. He is not in crisis. He is not falling apart. He is doing something worse. He is repeating. Every morning, he wakes up with the same heaviness, the same internal script, the same low-grade resignation that says, "This is just how I am now." He gets out of bed, checks his phone, feels behind before the day has even started, and then spends the next 12 hours trying to outrun a state of mind that followed him out of sleep. That state is not random, it is rehearsed. The mind does not only think, it returns. It returns to the same interpretations, the same emotional conclusions, the same private verdicts about your life. If you keep waking up in the same mental place, it usually means you have built that place so many times that your nervous system now knows the route by heart. And routes become identity when they go unchallenged long enough. This is why so many men and women confuse familiarity with truth. They think, I always feel this way, so this must be me. But repetition is not proof. Repetition is conditioning. Gabriel doesn't see that yet. He thinks his inner weather is his character. The human brain loves the known, even when the known is miserable. That's the trap. Not suffering itself, the familiarity of suffering. You can become attached to your own mental climate the way some people become attached to a damaged house. The floor creaks, the light never quite works, the air feels old, and yet you defend it because it is yours. To leave would mean admitting the house was never home, only habit. That is what keeps you in the same mental place. Not lack of intelligence, not lack of ambition. The emotional convenience of staying inside a pattern you've already explained to yourself. And once you've explained it enough, you stop trying to leave. Viktor Frankl understood something that most people still refuse to live by. Between what happens to you and how you respond, there is a space. In that space, your life either becomes repetition or authorship. The same event can happen to two people. One turns it into identity, the other turns it into direction. If you wake up every day inside the same emotional room, then the real question is not, why does this keep happening to me? The real question is, what part of me keeps rebuilding this place? Because the mind is not only a victim of repetition, it is often the builder of it. Before we go further, tudo que você está aprendendo aqui só funciona se você executar. E executar é exatamente onde a maioria para. Criei um sistema chamado Untamed Mind Protocol. 3 ferramentas que trabalham juntas. Um e-book que explica o porquê, um painel interativo que organiza o seu dia e um áudio de reprogramação que age onde o conhecimento não chega. Link na descrição. Agora voltando ao conteúdo. There is a silent form of captivity that looks almost respectable from the outside. You still work, you still answer, you still function. But internally, you keep arriving at the same emotional destination. Frustration, numbness, self-doubt, avoidance, longing, resentment, shame. Different days, same room. And because you are still performing life, nobody calls it what it is. A loop. Not a dramatic collapse, a loop. This is why advice so often fails. People tell you to think positive, to meditate, to journal, to get up earlier, to go to the gym, to stop overthinking. All of that can help, but none of it matters if the underlying habit is still intact. The habit of returning to the same interpretation of yourself. The problem is rarely the morning itself. The problem is the mental script that greets the morning before you do. Gabriel knows this script too well. Before he even leaves bed, he has already lost the argument. So how do you leave the same mental place? Not by waiting for a better mood, not by forcing optimism, not by pretending the pattern isn't real. You leave by interrupting the return. That means identifying the first moment the loop begins and refusing to let it complete itself automatically. The first thought, the first emotional posture, the first familiar excuse, the first tiny surrender to the old identity. Because once the loop completes, the day starts serving it. This is the part people underestimate. The mind doesn't need a huge event to keep you trapped. It only needs a tiny, repeated permission. One thought becomes a mood becomes a posture becomes a day becomes a life that feels strangely identical to yesterday. Not because nothing changed, because you didn't interrupt the return. I've seen this pattern in people who are very accomplished and in people who have almost nothing figured out. The common thread is not failure. The common thread is residence. They live in a mental address they did not consciously choose, then build theories about why it feels hard to move. But moving is not mystical. It is directional. It begins with noticing that the place you keep waking up in is not neutral. It is shaping what you think is possible. If every morning starts with defeat, then ambition becomes theatrical. If every morning starts with resentment, then gratitude becomes performance. If every morning starts with self-doubt, then action feels like trespassing. The mind teaches the body what world it lives in. You may need to hear this plainly. You are not trying to become a new person in one leap. You are trying to stop re-signing the contract with the old room. And the contract is renewed through tiny behaviors. Checking the same thing before your feet touch the floor. Naming your life as a loss before the day has a chance to speak. Rehearsing the same explanation for why now is not the time. Saying this is just how I am, with enough confidence that it starts sounding like fate. It is not fate, it is rehearsal. And rehearsal can be broken. A man named Gabriel finally noticed the pattern on a Wednesday that looked no different from any other Wednesday. He was sitting in his car before work, engine off, hands on the wheel, and he realized he had already spent 20 minutes inside a version of the day that hadn't happened yet. He had imagined the irritation, the fatigue, the disappointment, the familiar internal commentary. He had in effect lived the day before it began. That was the first rupture. Not a victory, a rupture. He didn't become someone else that day. He just did one thing differently. He started the car and did not continue the argument in his head. He drove in silence. He let the mental room go unanswered. It sounds small because it is small. And because it is small, it is repeatable. And because it is repeatable, it is how exits are made. There is a reason so many people stay trapped in the same mental place even after they understand the problem. Understanding is abstract. Returning is embodied. Your body remembers the route your mind takes every morning. The sigh, the posture, the glance at the phone, the internal sentence that lands before breakfast. Those things are not just thoughts, they are cues, with power. So if you want a different life, you do not begin by arguing with the whole day. You begin by interrupting the first cue. No grand declaration, no spiritual theater. Just a break in the sequence. Because the moment you break the sequence, you prove something crucial to yourself. The place you keep waking up in is not permanent. It only feels permanent because you have visited it so often. Marcus Aurelius wrote as if he were speaking to a man standing inside his own confusion, because in a sense he was. The ancient Stoics understood that you cannot always control the first appearance of a thought or emotion, but you can absolutely control whether you hand it the keys. That distinction matters more than most people realize. The thought arrives. The interpretation is optional. The habit arrives. The surrender is optional. That optional space is where a different life begins. Not in some dramatic overhaul, in the refusal to let the old internal script finish itself automatically. Gabriel didn't have a new personality. He had a new interruption. That was enough to begin. And here is the part nobody likes, because it removes the comfort of self-pity. If you keep waking up in the same mental place, you are getting something from it. Not happiness, not peace, a strange kind of predictability. The old room may be painful, but it is known. It lets you avoid responsibility, risk, exposure, disappointment. It gives you a ready-made explanation for your life. It tells you who you are before you have to prove anything else. That is why leaving feels like grief. You are not just abandoning pain, you are abandoning identity. And yes, that hurts. But pain is not always the enemy. Sometimes pain is the sign that the old arrangement is finally losing its authority. You don't leave the same mental place by waiting for confidence. You leave by behaving like the door exists even before you feel ready to use it. Open the window. Write the first line. Take the shower. Put the phone in another room. Walk without music for 10 minutes. Read one page before the feed. Do something that tells your nervous system, this room is not the whole building. That is how the mind learns space. Not through inspiration, through interruption. If this feels uncomfortably familiar, good. It means the video is touching the exact place you usually avoid looking at. The goal is not to shame you for being stuck. The goal is to expose the hidden architecture of the stuckness. Because once you see that your life is being edited by repeated internal returns, you stop treating your condition like destiny. You start treating it like a pattern, and patterns can be changed only where they are repeated, in the moment they begin. Gabriel is still not perfect, neither are you. That was never the point. The point is whether you are willing to stop calling the same mental room a personality and start calling it what it is, a place you learned and a place you can leave. The Untamed Mind community is built for people who are done mistaking recurrence for identity. Você chegou até aqui. Isso já diz muita coisa sobre você. A maioria das pessoas abre um vídeo sobre disciplina e fecha na metade. Você ficou. Você ouviu. Você está procurando algo real. Então eu quero te mostrar algo que criei especificamente para quem está nesse ponto, que sabe o que quer, mas ainda sente que o dia termina sem que as coisas mais importantes tenham sido feitas. É o Untamed Mind Protocol, 3 ferramentas em um sistema só. O e-book te explica por que sua mente sabota antes mesmo de você perceber e o que fazer de diferente. O painel de performance abre direto no seu navegador, sem app, sem login. Você define sua intenção, suas 3 prioridades, usa o timer de foco, marca os hábitos, faz a reflexão noturna. Tudo em um lugar, funcionando offline. O áudio de reprogramação tem 20 minutos. Ouça de manhã ou antes de dormir. Age no subconsciente, onde os hábitos reais vivem. Link na descrição. Se você assistiu até aqui, esse protocolo é para você.